Okay, so I put a post on Facebook saying that for the first time in 63 years, i.e. never, have I binged watched a series or a box set. I never knew what a box set was actually, really. Although I seem to remember my son back in the 80s had, no, in the 80s, my son back in the 90s had loads of boxes of videos of Friends. So I imagine that's what a box set is, like boxes of videos. I don't know. Anyway, showing my ignorance, I really don't like soaps, and I don't particularly like reality shows, although I say that, but I did over 20 years ago used to watch a few reality shows when they first sort of started out, sort of X Factor type programs. X Factor I loved, and I used to watch in the 80s, I used to watch EastEnders, but I haven't watched anything since then. And actually I've spent most of my time when I'm, you know, in the evenings, I guess, either I used to teach Pilates, yoga, or in more recent years watch YouTube. I watch a lot of spiritual teachers. I spent a long time watching many spiritual teachers, and that was a really good grounding for me, having been through so much trauma and stress. And so I wanted to do the big reveal as to what is the only series that I've been binge watching for about the last month. And I've just had a fluey cold thing, as you can hear in my voice, and so I have literally been watching like 3 or 4 episodes a night whilst I've been unwell, and I wanted to share this because it's really profound for me. So the show I've been watching is MAFS, and for those of you who don't know what that is, it's Married at First Sight. I first of all, I watched the first series in about 2 weeks, of the last UK series, and I found out that all my friends watch it, which is, well, not all my friends, but a lot of my friends secretly watch it. They hadn't told me, which I thought was quite funny, because I just don't like reality shows and soaps. That's my belief. So I started watching it, and what I loved about it was the psychology of it. I loved seeing the psychologists, how they had matched the people and put the people together. And then this week, everyone was saying, oh, the Australian one's better. So I've been watching the latest series of the Australian one. I'm only kind of not even a quarter of the way through yet. And do you know what? It's really opened me up hugely and massively. And I want to say such, you know, a massive gratitude to that program. And it's brought up a lot of stuff for me, because I find it really easy to open up and be vulnerable. Really easy. And I've had my heart broken a few times from the most significant 2 people in my life, which were my husband, my first husband, the father of my children, who passed away aged 25 when my kids were little in 1987, and my second husband, because he was the love of my life. And I also lived with a man for 5 or 6 years who I have no feelings for whatsoever. And I also realised that the last kind of proper boyfriend I had, who I pushed away, and then had him back and then pushed him away, I realised after trying to get him back for about 10 years, but I'd broken his heart, I realised that if we'd gone on that show, we quite possibly would have had a chance. And it just took me back to all the trauma I've been through in my life, you know. And I know a lot of women and men go through trauma. I'm not saying I'm alone, but I look at what happened to me. For example, I had horrendous pregnancies with my 2 boys, where my husband who was 24 or 20, I think 21 when I got pregnant. So yeah, we were 21. We were very young. And he was very supportive at the beginning of both the pregnancies until he wasn't. And it's very painful being in a marriage with a husband who looking back was just that lost and immature, that they don't know how to support you. And then going through a divorce after 12 years with my second husband, but also just going back to all the pain and the heartbreak, and you don't think you've protected your heart, but actually, you know, the journey of really starting to love yourself and coming back to who you are, and then realising the enormity, I guess, of going into another deeply conscious relationship. Actually, not another, the first ever deeply conscious relationship. Because so many women have never had that before. We've never had that total, loving, grown up support from a man who is consciously aware, who doesn't get triggered, who is spiritual, who is deep, who can hold a conversation, who doesn't get drunk, who isn't vaccinated, in my case, that's important, who is mature. And I realise there are men out there like that. I know there are. I've never had the belief that there are no good men out there. That's not my belief system. But this programme, thanks to MAFS, it's made me really curious to see how they get some of the couples in situations where I would have walked out. And it's really made me think a lot. So I'm very grateful to MAFS, and in particular the Australian one. I think it's brilliant. And I really don't want to plan, once I've watched this series, on getting addicted to watching series. I really don't. But I'm learning from this. I'm really learning. So thank you to the producers of MAFS. And it's a reality show that I have been quite surprised by. So thank you. It's opening me up to possibilities. So there you go. That's what I've been watching.